All right, guys, welcome back to the Discovering Eden podcast. My name is Brandon,
Marty.
and we may be losing. We may be have lost somebody if you couldn't tell. There's only two of us. Jonathan is well, he's having a Christmas pizza party.
That actually sounds good. I
Well,
mean, the
maybe
pizza part, but
maybe not the people part, but the pizza part
yeah,
maybe. Get the party Totino's pizza rolls and
yeah.
no, this is Mancino's. Oh, want pizza rolls anyway. No. So it's a little different. We'll be continuing the series. I know, at least for us, when we're recording this, we're probably gonna bulk record a couple because, well, this is the holiday season. It's a little busy. So, are things going to be on time or not? Well, I guess you'll find out in post.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's recorded in time.
it's recorded. Whether
Yeah.
it's there or not
Yeah.
in time, well, that's to be determined. But anyway, we're gonna get the awesome, joyous content of, you know, because last week we did the personification of fire. Well, this time we're talking about the punishment by fire. The second P, if
Yep.
you will. Um, yeah, how fun!
Yay.
Yay! Well, we'll get into prayer because of that. So I'll pray us off in this one.
Yep.
All right. So, dear God, I just thank you that we were able to talk about you, talk about your word, and be able to explore and learn and understand deeper of what you have for us. I know this topic for what we're talking about today is the punishment by fire and different avenues in which you see, fire be used for, harm or, yeah, against different things. And I know that there are different avenues and aspects of, you through fire, and obviously we'll get to water in a later week, but pray that whatever you would have for us would be highlighted and whatever is not from you would fall to the ground and be forgotten. I just pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
And I'm awesome because I forgot my mouse, so I can't do things remotely as I used to. So you get to see my lovely little mug as I reach in for the awesome laptop. So
Time for a close up.
bumper time. All right, it's done. Moving back. All right. It's going to be interesting talking into the mic because I don't typically do that. It feels a little awkward. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie.
I mean, it feels awkward for me because I'm usually like halfway between the mics over here, far away from it. I don't know what to do with this right here.
It's just open space. Hi. Yeah, I mean, we at least can mumble and be heard now
That's true.
instead of mumbling before and not being heard.
Yeah. And I don't have to yell this time to be heard.
Yeah. It's like something you have to learn how to do is voice project.
Hmm.
Except, well, my voice doesn't project. So that's the problem. So I need this thing. Curious to see how that sounded. We're leaving it in regardless.
It's going to be some weird static.
Caressing the microphone. Good job, Bobby. You did good.
Now the mic has a name.
Yeah, I guess this is Bobby, and that's Orr, Bobby Orr. If you know, you know. Anyways, to get back to,
I derailed quick. And
w
Jonathan's not even here.
we can derail it enough.
Absolutely.
Um, so let's get back into it. Just kind of a refresher of what we talked about the week prior. We talked about the personification of holy fire, so God as fire. Um, I know we talked mainly about the burning bush
Mhm.
when we talked about that. And then this time we're kind of looking at instances where fire is often used as a punishment or something that I don't want to say is destructive, but it is destructive because usually when you think destruction, you think of the enemy
Mm.
as a negative aspect of fire. But there's also instances where, and I think we'll see part of that as well, because some of the fire that's destructive that at least I have in here, whether that's man-made fire, whatever. So, right, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace.
Yep.
That fire, well, it was meant for destruction, and yet God appeared in the midst of it.
Mm.
That's a whole nother thing. But the fire itself was meant to be destructive
Yep.
as a punishment, but later ended up being an example of God's
Mm.
provision and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it almost turns back to the burning bush.
Yeah, where they're in there, but they're not burning.
Right.
Huh? Interesting. My favorite my favorite word. Interesting. Anyways, let's actually consult the phone to see what notes I actually did put down. Oh, the first one I put down there. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yep.
Wow. That's in Daniel 3:16 through 28. I guess if you wanted to pull that up.
Sure. Yeah.
It's preventative destruction. Even though it did inflict damage, emotional damage, one might say, to some of the people, making the fire hotter, the furnace hotter, as in, they got incinerated.
Yeah.
Um,
16 through 28.
yeah. So this fire was hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering that, yeah, the dudes couldn't even get near it, and then they threw the three of them in.
Kind of impressive, honestly.
Yeah. That he was willing to go that far to throw these other guys in. That's a whole nother topic. All right, Daniel 3:16, starting in 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us. Wait, yeah, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated, and he ordered some of the mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. Because the king's order was urgent and the furnace overheated, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. He answered and said, But I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the appearance of the fourth is like a son of the gods. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fiery furnace. He declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, and come out here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire, and the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of these men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. How far was I going?
That's good
Okay.
enough. um, yeah, this is almost like a combination
Mm,
of both last week and this week,
yep.
where the fire is destructive. We
Yep.
know it's destructive because it literally incinerated people.
Yep.
But it even went so far as they didn't even smell like fire.
Mhm.
I think that's just bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no smoke, nothing like that. Like, we go out and sit out at a campfire. You're there for 5 minutes and you already smell like it.
Or even like people that smoke, like
Yeah.
the no smoking sections and smoking sections. You can smell the
Oh,
smoke.
yeah.
It permeates everything.
Yep.
That's just mind blowing to me. Where it's like, oh yeah, you didn't even smell a hint of it.
Mhm.
That's how much you were protected.
Yeah.
Not you can even get a whiff of it.
Right.
And then something that kind of popped up when you were reading it again, when you were talking about Nebuchadnezzar basically getting enraged, full of fury.
Mm,
To be honest, I thought of the hardening of the heart
mm.
of Pharaoh,
Yeah. There are a lot of similarities there.
and it's just like, huh? Because I think of that, and though it doesn't say in the passage here in Daniel of Nebuchadnezzar's heart being hardened, I almost wonder if God was purposely hardening Nebuchadnezzar's heart to like glorify himself.
Which could be, because I mean, we do see that later in Daniel too. There is an obvious hardening of the heart. When he's standing up on the rooftop and says, "Oh, look at this kingdom that I built," and God makes him go crazy for 7 years. Um, so
Like
there's
the humbling experience of
yeah,
Nebuchadnezzar.
yeah, because so he definitely had that pride, if nothing else. Um, so yeah,
Because it reminds me of, like, almost the pride of, Pharaoh.
yeah, yeah. There are definitely a lot of similarities between the two.
And, I mean, you see this even with scripture
Mhm.
everywhere, where there's similarities here, 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 here. You could just connect the dots, if you will,
Right.
for a lot of them. There's stories repeat.
Hmm.
They just take different shapes.
Yep. Different culture, different people. Hey, look at this. We're gonna, fit it into this culture. We're gonna fit it with these people. But yeah, story is repetitious to a degree.
I mean, you even look at, like, Israel in general,
Hmm.
very cyclical.
Oh yeah, it's always one of my favorite things to look at. What is it? Numbers, I think. Numbers or Judges, I forget. But it's like, chapter one starts out, oh, Israel's doing great, and then chapter two, Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. Chapter three, Israel's doing great. Chapter four, Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
Hmm.
Like this very back and forth every other chapter.
Yeah, and it's something I think some people take for granted. Um, yeah, we're human.
Hmm. Yeah.
Israel was just as human as we are.
Yep.
Um, and in some cases, like, and sometimes we say, "Oh, our culture right now is terrible. Everything's horrible. It's just the worst it's ever been." And then it's like, huh, need I remind you? Just look back at some things. Well, we're not, sacrificing our children on altars and different things like that. So I think we're doing okay,
Right.
or at least a little bit better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, we still fall into the same cyclical things.
Hmm.
I mean, humanity's broken.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I always like to think when that cyclical thing comes up, and where we are as a culture, that whether we're doing better or worse or whatever, like we are the modern day Rome. When you look at Rome,
I mean,
we are doing a lot of the same things.
we are the melting pot,
Yeah.
especially the US.
Yep.
Um it's just what do the gods and goddesses of that turn into?
Yeah.
Like what do we place in those pedestals?
Hmm.
Those pedestals still exist. It's just what we place in them changes.
Yep. Could be, this is a pedestal. Could be, you know,
I mean, I'm using it for
yeah.
good, but it is a pedestal. Like what can you get addicted to?
Yep.
Like different things like that.
Yep.
Um, And like some of the things that even Rome struggled with, it's not like we don't struggle with
Right.
some of those same things, like you know drinking too much, or doing the like basically anything like that. You kind of look at the 10 commandments and say, oh yeah, well those are obvious, like, oh, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, like, oh, those are easy.
Yeah. So people still do it all the time.
Except, people still struggle with some of those.
Uh-huh.
Now, obviously, anybody, like you talk to anybody, people will say, oh yeah, killing other people is bad. Well, duh.
Yeah. That is universally agreed upon.
Yeah, that's an obvious statement. But something that's, what Jesus talks about later,
Mhm.
like in the New Testament, where it's like, here, I'm going to expound on these.
Yeah. If you even hate your brother, you're guilty of murder.
Yeah. And it's like, oof.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't have to make it that much close to home, God. Yo, Jesus, man. Can you be a little lax on that?
Yeah.
Or you get the smart Alex, and just like, um, so define hate.
Yeah.
How much can I skirt the line?
Yep.
Um, yeah, and it's a slippery slope,
Mhm.
and there's things that happen regardless. Um, yeah, and then obviously there's punishment for the sin that is had, but also I'm trying to pull it back to what we're talking about, and it's kind of hard to do. So I lost my train of thought, but I'm trying to just get back to what we're talking about. So, bloop. All right, we're back. So let's see. I'm not gonna go on to that next one. The next one's huge.
Yeah.
Let's go Sodom and Gomorrah.
Speaking of punishment by fire.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Um, they did evil in the sight of the Lord
Yeah.
and were smitten. They were smote, if
Yep.
you will. um, to be honest, as a geologist, I'd be like, I'm kind of intrigued
Mm.
because I'm like, what did it look like?
Yeah.
Is it a meteor shower? Like meteors coming down, fire and brimstone? Is it stuff from the earth? Because it's near like one of the geologically active areas with major dividing boundary where Africa is kind of getting ripped apart.
Mhm.
Kind of curious. I would look back for an entirely different reason.
Yeah. What's going on?
Just
back
don't-
there? I'm
just-
a pillar of salt.
Just don't turn me into a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
I may be salty sometimes, but I don't want to be literally
Yeah.
salty.
Lot's wife was really salty.
Man, now I just picture like a deer just licking it. It's like hunting season almost. It's just salt lick. Ugh. That's my wife. Get away.
Yeah.
Get away, Mew.
But, bringing up, all joking about Lot's wife, but that doesn't make you wonder, too, like, what did Lot even think about that? Nothing is ever
just
mentioned.
keep walking.
Yeah.
Just keep walking. He was told not to look back. He didn't look
Yeah.
back. But like, how would now? I obviously we're just going like way out
Yeah.
of whatever here. But I'm like, what did that even sound like?
Yeah.
Like, what does it sound like if somebody turns to salt behind you?
Yeah, that would be a weird one.
Where it's like
Just like the instant-
almost even by curiosity, I would want to turn around.
Yeah. Would there even be a sound? Or did it just be
Well, I don't know.
instantaneous turning?
Well, and now I think of like, Pompeii
Mm.
and like how they are in ash and
Yeah.
they're preserved in that way.
Right.
Would it look the same for like salt?
Could be. I mean, if it just happened so fast.
And then obviously time it'll this seems depressing, but well, when it rains, the
Yeah.
salt the salt dissolves. Uh
This is getting dark real
well that
quick.
that got morbid. That's cruel and unusual punishment. Emphasis on unusual. Okay, we're losing the script.
Oh,
Let's
yeah. So, Sodom and Gomorrah burned with fire. Punishment by fire.
Now I know Jonathan and I briefly talked about this in one of the series we did. I think it was Redefined, where we talked about Abraham and kind of consulting God, kind of like, okay, spare them
Mhm.
if there's like one person or whatever,
Yeah.
spare them.
Yep.
Kind of going the back and forth between God, because God's like, that's it,
Yeah.
final straw.
Done. Yep. Oh, but God, if there's 50. Oh, but if there's 45. Yeah, down to the one.
Even if there's one,
Yep.
and yet it still happened.
hmm Which is kind of fascinating to think about then that he's, to me, that would be, God considering Lot as the righteous man, the one that was there. He got out of town. Well, there's nobody there anymore. Fair game.
Well, in the one town he stayed in was the only one spared
Yeah.
of like all the surrounding towns around it,
Right.
which is quite bizarre.
hmm
Obviously, I wasn't there back then. I don't know what it looked like.
Right.
I can only, see with my mind's eye what it might look like or
hmm
might have looked like. I've been to the area. Well, I can tell you there's plenty of salt. Plenty of salt now.
Hmm.
But that's just, I mean, it's the Dead Sea, all that kind of stuff. It's just salt in general, but even like way below, everything's salt.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to go into the whole geology of it. Oh, it used to be an ocean, a taffy sea, and all that. I'm not gonna go like super far in
Yeah.
depth because that, at the end of the day, does not matter. 'Cause I could go into the whole science behind it. Oh man, I I could, and maybe there's some legitimacy to it, and obviously, God knows the whole story, regardless. Anyway,
Yep.
I'm just a bystander at that point, and I'm not even a bystander. I'm just, this is hindsight.
Yeah. This is looking way back through the lens of history.
Except that hindsight's not even 50-50.
Yeah.
Lucky if it's 50.
Yeah.
But even in both of these destructive fire instances, you still see the salvific side of, God
Yeah.
in the midst of destruction. There's still that lifeline. There's still that, you know, aspect of saving. I mean, we talked about yin and yang earlier, where
Yep.
there's this destruction, but yet there's still that little bit of hope.
hmm
Yeah, even if there's one, a little bit of hope. I mean, Lot, wasn't wiped out.
Right.
So there you go. One.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back at some of these Old Testament stuff, it's like, wow, that's morbid. Or like you think about things a little bit deeper and go, huh, uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, God, it's not gonna happen today, is it? Please no.
Right.
I might like my food salty, but nope.
Yeah, but just think about, like a lot of we live in a culture that talks about like, we don't want violence. And, that is a thing. We don't want a violent, people or whatever. God is moving us away from that, to bring life, to bring peace, to bring joy, all that stuff. Um, but as we look back at these stories and just talk about, the morbidity of it all, yet at the center of it all we serve a crucified Christ.
Yeah.
That's
That's kind of sobering, isn't it?
yeah. Like the very act of salvation was violent and morbid and dark.
Yeah. In something like we're talking about fire, right?
Yeah.
So you almost have to have a fire lit under you
Mhm.
to almost it defines your faith.
Yeah.
So you're refined by fire, which means you have to have a fire lit under you
Mhm.
for things to happen. Now, what that can do is you can either be refined by the fire and be strengthened, or it can melt you down
Mhm.
and destroy you.
Yeah. Which, looking at the fiery furnace, you know, they were refined in it.
The others got incinerated and
Right.
probably got Thanos snapped. But maybe that's what happened. Who knows?
Half the guys that were near the fire, they didn't make it. The other half did.
Nebuchadnezzar snapped, and then there appeared another person in the fire that's fine, and the other people got incinerated.
Yep.
Like, that's not what I thought would happen. Oops.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Stanley. This isn't how the script goes. You had the gauntlet all along, Nebuchadnezzar? Why haven't archaeologists found it?
Well, that's what those 5 gems were.
Too bad they sank with the Titanic. No, kidding. I don't know. We're just
That's too far. We're pushing into water there. We can't do that. Gotta wait a couple episodes for that.
now it's water and ice. Yeah, we just lose it
Yep.
after a certain time. Okay. Oh, do we do it? Do we rip the Band-Aid off?
I mean, might as well.
Okay. I think probably one of the ones that I think of the most when it comes to punishment by fire is the lake of fire in the book of Revelation,
Yep.
where you know all of hell and Hades they take a dip.
Yeah.
Um,
This is the part that nobody ever wants to think about.
and yeah, they're gone. They gone
Yep.
for good. It's a really hot bath, a permanent hot bath.
Yeah.
It's not a fun jacuzzi. It bubbles, but quite deadly.
Yeah. A little more magma-ish.
No, they're not farts. No, no, no. Little bit more deadly than that. Yeah, and a lot of times, like the Book of Revelation can scare some people,
Mhm.
Even Christians to some degree. Even though looking at it and reading it shouldn't scare Christians, it should actually, strengthen them. Like, hey, the battle is already done.
Yep.
We've already, you know, God's already beat Satan.
Mhm.
He's already accomplished, his feat over death. Like, this is done and dusted.
Yeah.
But it is sobering to kind of hear, oh, everyone who doesn't know God or doesn't know Jesus and acknowledges that, they're tossed also into the lake of fire.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the well, just to keep using the word interesting things to me actually comes back from Matthew. It's either 24 or 25, but when Jesus is talking about the judgment seat when he separates the sheep from the goats, and um, he talks about all those on the sheep on the right hand that says, blessed are you, inherit the kingdom that was set aside for by your father and that. But the goats that he says that they'd be cast into this lake of fire that was prepared for the devil. Like it was specifically meant for the devil, and that was it. Like the devil and all the fallen angels in that. those that chose to follow. So there's that eternal destruction there that was planned by God in this judgment, for them. It was never meant to be for anybody else, but here we are, looking at Revelation, and there's still that side of it. And even in Matthew 24, Jesus is talking about the goats being cast in there too. But that's just something that's always kind of struck me, is that it was God always talking about, the fire coming back to some salvific thing. Like, there's still hope in that. Like, this is God calling out and crying out, like, turn from your sin. Turn from that destruction of fire, punishment by fire, or whatever, and be refined by the fire instead. Um, yeah, so even in that, there's still that message of hope and a cry for it.
I mean, looking at it, yeah, we know what's gonna happen, but it's also a forewarning.
Yeah,
So, just like you get like a tornado warning when something bad's gonna happen, or
Mhm.
other things like that. You don't want to get struck with your pants down.
Right.
I mean, that's not a fun sight. Ain't nobody want to see that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's one of the most convicting
Mhm.
things, I think, because we're Christians, and it's like I don't want to see anybody have to go through you know the lake of fire
Right.
or anything like that. And it really gauges like how much do I actually love other people?
Mm.
Because I think so easy it can be easy to just say, okay, yeah, I'm good. Like very self-centered.
Yep.
Yep, nope, I checked all my boxes. I'm good. See you in heaven.
Yep.
But it's a warning not just for the people who may be going the other direction, but also the people who have their bags checked, if you will.
Mhm.
Where it's like, okay, so you might be okay, but what are you doing to bring other people back?
Right. Which is the whole ministry of Christ. What he came to do.
I mean, you think about the Great Commission. Isn't that the Great Commission? I mean, yes, saving them from doom is an aspect of it, and it shouldn't be the sole aspect
Yeah.
of it. The sole aspect is we want to get to know the person who saved us.
Right.
It's the person who loved us first.
Mhm.
Because we didn't love him first. Frankly, we keep going back and
Yeah.
going around in a circle.
Right.
Very cyclical. We keep forgetting him.
Mhm.
Keep forgetting that he exists. Because he's not necessarily physical in all instances.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for you and I to talk like this. But what about Jesus, who's right here?
Right.
Not saying that, Jonathan, whatever. But, yeah, like, if you imagine this is Jesus. Hey, buddy. I don't know if I'd actually pat Jesus on the shoulder, but, maybe, hey, bud.
I mean,
This is my bud.
I feel like God has a sense of humor, so
I mean, he cast demons into pigs. I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Maybe not funny for the pigs,
Right.
but
Or the farmer, but
hey, pigs were unclean in his eyes anyway.
yeah.
God doesn't like bacon. It's unfortunate.
It's clean now.
It got refined by no, it drowned. I was gonna say it got refined by fire, but no. No, we refine the pigs by fire.
Yeah.
Then they
There we
taste
go.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that. Yep.
Yeah, that derailed quick.
I don't know. I make light of some things sometimes, because otherwise you can get bogged down pretty
Oh,
quickly.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about punishment. I
Right.
mean, let's be
It's a pretty depressing
let's be
subject.
honest. Yeah. We can have a little fun here and there.
Yeah.
Are they necessarily all great jokes? Well,
Probably not.
probably not. Probably inappropriate sometimes. I'm
okay with that.
Who cares? No, maybe you do, but well, we're the ones talking. Actually, that sounded kind of bad. I am the captain now. Oh wait, we're not on water.
Still not there.
Darn it. Keep going to a ship.
Sailing on the sea of fire right now.
Ah. Oh no. I don't want to go down with the ship.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
next one.
Yeah.
Unless there's other things that you can think.
No, not offhand.
See, a lot of the things will come to mind after we're done recording
Right.
because that's how things work.
That's why we need to just, hey, end the show and then just keep recording and there's our B reel.
Frankly, yeah. See, another one I have is okay. So this is in James. This is the New Testament. So tongue is like fire and can spread evil. So this is more of a descriptive use of fire, not literal fire. Um, and I kind of mirror it a little bit in like Pentecostal fire
Mm.
that you see, which is the kind of like one of the next ones that we'll do like next week.
Yeah.
But like I kind of mirror it almost where it's like, yeah, so you have power behind your words. It depends on how you use it.
Mhm.
You can use it to uplift or you could use it to tear down.
Yep.
Just like fire. You can refine things by fire and make it stronger, or you can burn and wipe out and take out a lot of things too.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
Just like water is in some aspect as well.
Yep.
There's a lot of life that can come from it, but at the same time, so is true of the inverse.
Yep.
And I want to say a lot of times James's words get taken out of context. Quite a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's true.
but like tongue is like the fire. Um, at least in this instance, as we're using it. I hope I'm not taking it out of context. I kind of see it similarly where it's like, yeah, your words can tear somebody
Mhm.
down. But at the same time, you can use it for good. Please do good
Yeah.
with your words.
Yeah, and that's really the plea of James. I mean, James is, often considered the Proverbs of the New Testament. Um, and so there are these like kind of, bite-sized little chunks, if you will. But yeah, that is exactly his plea there is that, be careful of your words and how you're using them, really. You know, choose life instead of tearing people down.
Because and I kind of included this as well because fire as a punishment. When you think of fire as a punishment, well, your words can be a punishment to somebody else
Yeah.
because it can tear them down.
Right.
Words have power that can, if you hold a grudge, for example, somebody said something you didn't like, and some people hold on to that for years.
Mm.
You see that in domestic cases and
Mhm.
different things like that, where you're estranged from family or different things like that, and those relationships take a long, long time to repair.
Yeah.
If
If
it,
ever.
yeah, if ever, just from like something that was said.
Yeah.
Like I think of like now I don't know exactly the case, but like I think of my cousin who I haven't seen in a while because his dad and him had a falling out. From my perspective, they want to get, or at least my uncle wants to get back together. But there's a lot of hurt, and he's not ready. Like my cousin isn't ready, or
Mhm.
different things like that. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not entirely in that position,
Right.
but yeah, and I don't even know what sparked it. But all it takes is one spark of a flame
Mhm.
of something that was said whether it was intentional or unintentional,
Yep.
that can spark a rift.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're not dealing with, looking at any of that from some kind of understanding, then it's just, oh, that hurt me and that's it. The fire's lit, now it's raging.
I mean, we even, you hear the term burn bridges,
Mhm.
like where people that are often in toxic relationships or different like things. Like when I think of burned bridges, I think of something like that
Yep.
where there's a toxic relationship. People that love them are like, hey, you know, you should maybe think about what's going on, but the other people don't want to hear it, and they just start act. The conflict comes up, and
Mhm.
the bridges start getting burnt one by one by one by one.
Yep.
Same kind of thing, I think. It can be very destructive.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's also that little twinge of there's hope in it because words can also do the opposite of you don't know how much a thank you or like a simple gesture of being kind to somebody would do.
Yep.
Where it just takes one thing of, oh, guess what? Something that you said saved me from wanting to take my life.
Yeah.
Or different things like that. Words are powerful.
Oh, man. I just oh, that just hit me. Uh, that actually happened with me, talking about, speaking words of life that stop somebody from wanting to take their own life. Um, yeah, a friend of mine, I think it was about 2 years ago now. Um, we had regular conversations and that over at the coffee shop and everything, and as we were talking and that, I was, just giving examples of my own life and how, God was moving in my life and that, and 6 months of this went by and that, and I'm just thinking like these are just friends having conversations. Like I'm not thinking much of it, but I'm also a big believer, I guess, if you will, of that we'll never know the full impact that we have in other people's lives.
No.
The words we speak in that, like not on this side of eternity.
No, and I don't think we ever will.
Yeah. But this was one where I actually got a small glimpse of that, and it was just incredible to me how God used, these conversations because she, my friend, she came up to me a few months later and or, whatever time it was, but she was talking about how she was having all these issues and or I think it was her mom. Um her mom was having all these issues and she just repeated some of the words that I said to her. And, one of the things that my friend groups and that kind of know me for saying or whatever is that, my confidence comes from knowing who I am and whose I am. The latter being the more important part, knowing that I am God's. And so I told her this, multiple times. And, so like this just naturally came up in our conversations. Well, she went and told that to her mom, and her mom had written letters to the kids saying like this was basically her goodbye, but because she repeated those words to her mom, and they had all these conversations and that around that too, but that was something that like her mom turned from that, so and chose to continue living instead. um, yeah, anyway, that was
Yeah.
power of words.
Yeah, and I even think maybe not on some of that scale necessarily, but I think of a time when I was helping out like at a in my residency at a church in Fremont, and I didn't think I was really doing anything. I felt very stuck. I mean, I kind of still do, to be honest, in a whole different circumstance. But I felt like, "Oh, what am I supposed to do, God? Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. Like, how can I be your light in the midst of what I'm doing right now?" Because, to be honest, it didn't feel like I was doing much of anything. I was just existing. I was there. I'm like, hey, you guys like D&D, right? Um, Video games,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm in on all this.
Let's play that. Let's do some stuff together. Maybe talk about Jesus here and there. not trying to force it down anybody or, force feed,
Mhm.
but, got to the point where my time there was done because just with the situation where it's like, well, I wasn't planning on being a lead pastor or anything like that. Kind of got snipped by the overall organization of the church that I'm in, or like the main, like Wesleyan church or whatever at the time for the branch.
Yep.
Disagreed with it, and I mean, other people share that sentiment as well. But yeah, so I was feeling very distraught. Like, is anything I'm doing amounting to anything? Basically, is some of the things that came to mind. Went to visit, um, like a month or so afterward, and basically was told like, "Oh, I missed you," like, and different things like that,
Mhm.
and like a bunch of the kids kind of coming up and saying that. I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
Like, it really it hit me because it's like I felt like I was doing nothing,
Yeah.
but like some of the people that I was like intentionally pouring into, would come and say that to me, which is like that's huge.
Mhm.
And it's like sometimes like you feel like sometimes you pour into something so much and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I mean that's even with like faith
Oh, yeah.
in itself. Like you around the church you hear like, oh well sometimes like for like planting a harvest or different things. Sometimes we're there planting the seed, sometimes we're watering the seed, and sometimes we watch it grow, and sometimes we're there to harvest the
Mhm.
seed. Sometimes you're there watering for a very, very long time
Yeah.
and not see any results.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what and you leave on that. You don't get to see those results.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how things go. Things work in different timing.
Mhm.
Like God moves through it. It's not you doing anything.
Right.
Sometimes we think, oh, we want results. We want results.
Mhm.
Well, we're not the ones that can produce the results. That's just not on our skill set.
Right.
We can think we could try to change someone's mind, but guess what?
Yeah. That
We
ain't gonna
can't
happen.
we can't change nobody's mind.
Yep.
But there is God who can.
Mhm.
And God's always working, regardless of whether we realize it or not. God's always moving. And he moves in the midst of even some of the words that we speak.
Mhm.
We are Christ's ambassadors. You hear that sometimes in church or if you've been around at all
Yep.
in some capacity. You may have heard that phrase before. But we're living, breathing testimonies of God's work at play.
Yep.
I mean, we're the hands and feet of God.
Mhm.
We're the ones actually, you know, being God in the midst of. I mean, it sounds wrong that we're being God, but
But even John says that, I think in First John 4, just taught on this a few weeks ago too. Well, Thad, or I think it was Thad that talked on it too here on a Sunday morning. But that we are as Jesus was in the world. He was God incarnate in the world. Now, as his ambassadors, we are doing exactly what he did. We aren't God, but we are as he was in the world, doing the ministry that he was doing.
and it's fascinating because even Jesus says, "You will do what I do and greater."
Right.
And it's like, really?
Yeah. What do you mean greater?
um, I can't multiply food.
Right.
If I could, that would make my job a whole lot easier.
You get a pizza. You get a pizza.
World hunger
Yeah.
solved. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way
Right.
because the reason behind it is like I'm like all you need for being sustained.
Mhm.
Like you shall hunger no more, you shall thirst no more.
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I mean, a lot of it's kind of heart and meaning behind it. So another, I guess, another aspect of okay, going back to punishment by fire here. Now, is that punishment necessarily detrimental punishment, or is it constructive punishment?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I was thinking about when you were talking about it earlier, is that, punishment is oftentimes something meant to prevent something worse from happening. If you're punishing a child because they're, going to go touch the stove or whatever, it's, hey, don't do that. You're stopping them. The child is going to see that as punishment. You're not letting me do what I wanted to do. Well, there's a reason for that. You know, things of that nature. I mean, that's a really contrived example, but
I mean, it sounds bad when you think of it in terms of, oh, let's make an example of XYZ.
yeah.
Because when I think of like that phrase of let's make an example of, I think of like Rome
Mm,
and like putting someone's head on a pike.
right.
Let's make an example of them.
Yep.
And it's just like, see, that just sounds so negative.
Yeah. In that case, it is.
um, but at the same time, like you you hear a lot of the quote unquote punishments that happened in the Old Testament that God inflicted on Israel.
Mhm.
For example, I don't know, the earth swallowing um people whole
Right.
um in the wilderness. Um oh, hi Bobby. Oh, bye Bobby. Um I didn't know him. It's some of that just it's so mind-boggling cuz you it's far beyond our comprehension of even something to that obviously they're very bizarre outlandish things that happen
Mhm.
where it's like yeah, if I saw that I'd be like I'm terrified.
Right.
I'm doing right. I'm
Yeah.
righteous. I am not doing bad. I mean, and maybe that's partly why things were done the way they were,
Yeah.
because I'd be like, yep, nope, we're going this way
Mm,
now. We're not nice knowing you, Jerry, but
yeah.
we're going.
Well, and even, using things as an example like that, the serpents in the wilderness, is a great example of that
Oh
too,
yeah,
where,
yeah.
the God made the fiery serpents come and bite all the people in that. And those that wanted to be healed, they had to look at the very thing that they were being punished by, if you will. This bronze serpent instead. The thing that had the appearance of what afflicted them, what punished them.
I mean, I find that really fascinating too. In terms of especially like the bronze serpent.
Mhm.
I'm like, they just came out of Egypt. They got basically blasted for making a golden calf.
What are you talking about? It just popped out.
It just popped out of
Don't know
nowhere.
how this happened.
Aaron's like, I don't know. It just happened.
Yeah, just
I don't get it. Just it was
yeah,
there.
just threw this gold in the fire and out popped this calf.
No, but it's like because when I think of like especially the golden calf, I think I've been to Egypt like with my dad through under the fig tree ministries. So kind of did a tour of Egypt, Jordan, Israel. Um, Egypt was really fascinating. And when when I think of the golden calf now, I think of Hathor, the goddess Hathor, fertility god, different things like that. I mean, yeah, one of the this is a good god,
Right.
good goddess, different things like that, and they want to go back to the fertility. They want to go back to hey, we want success and everything because
Mhm.
now we're in the wilderness. Now there's nothing,
Yeah.
and like I, my mind goes like when oh, let's set up a golden serpent. I'm like, okay, so what Egyptian god is that? Like, it's almost what like my mind goes to, and the fact that God's using that
Mhm.
to heal people. It's still kind of mind boggling to me. It's like yes, I know God uses the things that we perceive and kind of our beliefs and kind of moves in the midst of that to kind of like work in his ways
Mhm.
because it goes based on how much we understand,
Right.
not how much he understands. Otherwise, nothing will ever happen for us because we're a bunch of dum dum suckers.
Yeah. Just over here repeating history.
These people keep going in circles, but there's more to the map than just going in circles. What do you mean you can only go 4 squares?
This all looks so familiar.
You know, The Legend of Zelda has more than 4 squares. You have to get out of the intro. Several more dungeons for you left. It's dangerous to go alone after all. No, this is not herd mentality. This is why I call you sheep.
Yep.
Nope, that's a crevice. Oh. Have you seen the video of like the sheep where it's like the farmer frees them, they hop around and go right back in to the
No, I
to
haven't
the
seen that.
crevice? Yeah, that's what it is. That's us.
Yeah, that definitely sounds right.
I, I'd have to find it. Like, I guess future editor somewhere.
Remember this point in this
Remember this
episode.
point in time. Shebang, Kazam,
Yeah.
Bazinga. Yeah. Have some running around sheep, getting stuck in crevices, and then getting out to get stuck again. Congrats, there's an image that will never leave your head.
Yep.
Just have it be the painted sheeps from like How to Train Your Dragon. It's a target. Target practice.
There's a whole sermon in that.
We're scared of the Night Fury. Just go, oh no. Herd mentality. Please let me not be alone. Oh no. Hi, buddy. Okay, yeah, we're losing
Yep.
it. Do you have any other thoughts regarding punishment by fire or anything around that?
I kept thinking of earlier when before we even started this, I was looking over the notes and that I kept thinking of Elijah calling down fire.
On the Mount Carmel?
Yeah, I mean, not a punishment per se, but
God, reveal yourself.
yeah,
You are God and they are not. Or like their God is not.
right. And in his
Whose is more powerful?
right, and in his revelation by fire, they were punished. All the prophets of Asherah and Baal and all that. So I don't know. It was just another thought I had.
Yeah. I mean, it's you think of this kind of goes back, and this is where it's like people can get confused. Like, why would God let something like that happen? Where it's like, okay, so people in church keep saying that God is uplifting, constructive, all that, and not destructive. That's
Yeah.
usually the enemy. So then, why does everybody get destroyed?
Yeah. Why do we have a flood story?
Why is there the flood? Why is there? Oh, I don't know. They get incinerated before.
Right.
Well, they didn't get incinerated. The altar
Yeah.
offerings and stuff got burnt up and
Yeah.
everything. So I guess God isn't doing it.
No.
But then Elijah
Slaughters
slaughters them all anyways.
Yeah.
Which
Which is why I say, the punishment isn't by fire, but the revelation by fire caused the punishment.
yeah. And it's just like I don't know. Like obviously, it's not for me to necessarily know
Mhm.
what they were thinking in that instance. But like, if I were like one of the other people, they'd be like, "Oh crap,
Yeah. This is not
I
gonna end
think
well.
I messed up." Yeah. So we like your God more.
Yeah.
Um, why are you coming at us with a knife?
Yeah. What's going on?
We surrender, and then yeah, it didn't matter.
Yep.
It's and maybe this is because I'm like more pacifistic, and I don't really want the conflict like that. Like, why did that have to happen?
Mm.
Like, you think of that even with Sodom and Gomorrah. It's just like I know people don't necessarily change their minds, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And people will get caught in the same cycle of sin.
Mhm.
But it's like if we were given forgiveness, why wouldn't we also give that? I mean, I guess some people just never follow it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at
It's still so it's still so hard to like struggle with it sometimes
yeah.
though. Especially like some of the examples you get in the Old Testament where it's like, "Well, God, how can you let this happen?"
Mhm.
And God's like, "I'm very patient. He's slow to anger." It's like, and yet that
Yeah.
happened. How long have we been
Right.
poking the bear? And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there's some. I mean, there's going to be some degree of faith in that we're just never going to have the answers. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're never gonna have any definitive answer until, well,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah. So we see them face to face and can say, "Hey, God, what about this? What did that all mean?"
And that's like the interesting thing too, where it's like I would love to have conversations with some of these people,
Hmm.
but it's like at the same time I'd also want to have conversations with the people on the opposite side.
Yeah.
But yeah, for some of them, well, they're doomed to go into the lake of fire.
Right.
So it's like, well, I kind of want to almost hear from their perspective
Yeah.
and different things like that. Like sparks conversation. Okay, Judas Iscariot, or
Yeah.
different things like that. Okay, it's not necessarily all about sides and everything, but
Right.
okay, what side does he fall
Yeah.
on? It's things to ponder. It's like I'd almost want to have a conversation to just say, hey, what was going through your mind?
Mhm.
Sure, there's a lot of things we can go, like we can assume was going through his mind through conjecture.
Right.
Like, oh, well, he was expecting a conqueror as a Messiah
Yeah.
instead of how Jesus came.
Except all 12 of them were.
Yeah,
You know.
it's like, why did it get to the point where you know tires hit the tarmac,
Hmm.
like different things like that?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, these are just questions I think we'll just never get answers to.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets into the whole predestination and um, versus free will conversation as well. But I'm not going to go into that bag of worms because that's a big bag of
Oh yeah.
worms.
There's no end to that fight.
There's arguments for and against both.
Hmm.
I'm not. We don't got time
Yeah.
for that. That's like a whole day podcast, and then that probably wouldn't even cover
No.
everything.
No. No.
Anyway, I think that'll be it for this video. Um, I know we rambled a little bit, but par for the course.
Yeah. You know what you're getting on this podcast.
Yeah. Doesn't help that it's it's a little odd. I think once we actually get into the actual spiritual warfare part, that we'll actually get into it. Because I had the Fire and Water series ideas before already kind of in mind. I just didn't really know what I was gonna do with it. And congratulations, you're along for the ride. Um, but I think once we tie everything into the spiritual warfare, then we'll I know get some deep conversation.
Yeah.
maybe get into some testimonies, different things like that. Because, yeah, I just felt like that was something God wanted with this
Yeah.
series. But, you know, you'll find out. You'll find out, and hopefully it's valuable for you. Hopefully it helps you in some way. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna do this awkward transition again. Hello.
See y'all next time.
See ya. Bye. Bye. Bye.